Hey, what's up guys? It's Corey here with Dapper Dollars. Today we're going to talk about this awesome news for Hyliion, if it's actually what it seems and what we can look forward to in the future for this stock. You ready? Let's get started. So this channel is all about using the online income opportunities like merch by Amazon and Etsy to build our income online, invest this income in things like the stock market and real estate, and build our financial freedom for ourselves and our family. If that sounds like something you're interested in, like and subscribe, and let's get started. So Hyliion came out this morning with an announcement that they have reached an agreement with Detmar for 300 Hypertruck ERXs for Detmar to add to their fleet. This comes on the heels of an earlier agreement they had this spring to have 10 trial trucks ready, or 10 trial trucks for Detmar to use. And this is essentially a follow-on order for Hyliion. And this is incredible news. This is an incredible validation that it is where this industry is headed, because Detmar is a trucking company, and this means that they see the value in Hyliion, number one, in what they're doing for the environment, because for those of you that don't know, Hyliion is seeking to be a carbon net negative solution for the trucking industry, especially the Class 8 trucking industry. So with Detmar getting on board, they are providing one more vote of confidence for Hyliion and what they're doing in the future. And it gives an indication for us as investors that what Hyliion is producing is actually going to meet the needs of the trucking industry. Because like we've talked about in past videos, it's one thing for Hyliion to come out with something that is emotionally tugging on the heart of people who are wanting to get to a net negative carbon emission standard. But it is another thing to actually have a company's accountant approve buying 300 Class 8 trucks to rebuild their fleet. Now, again, they're not rebuilding their fleet, because what the Hypertruck ERX is mostly a drivetrain that is replaced within the truck. So it is a very cost-efficient solution for companies like this to actually put the carbon emission standards in place without having to buy a completely new truck. So this is a great opportunity for these people who want to actually make these steps towards lower carbon emissions, but don't want to have to buy a completely new like Tesla truck or something. So they can essentially make a $20,000 to $80,000 investment instead of a $200,000 to $300,000 investment in buying a new truck. So this is great for Hyliion. Again, it gives a vote of confidence that Detmar liked what they saw. They made an additional agreement to buy 300 of the ERX models. So this is a subject to agreement though. This is not a done deal. This is one thing that we need to keep in mind for this product, is that this is all subject to the proper execution of Hyliion's Hypertruck ERX in the future. Because what Detmar got initially in the beginning of this year was a prototype, and what they have been using in those 10 units are prototypes. So they are not the essential finished product, because remember, Hyliion has introduced the Hypertruck ERX Council, and in this council they are weeding out all of the bugs, all of the temporary issues that Hyliion could face in the future. And once all of that has wrapped up, hopefully by the end of 2021, they will have a completely finished product in the Hypertruck ERX, and then we'll initially roll out the finished finalized product for mass production in 2022. So with all of that being said, that is the subject to part of this agreement. This is essentially an agreement that they have. It's a handshake essentially to say, if everything goes according to plan, then we will buy these 300 products from you in 2022 once you have it available for mass production. So is it a great thing for Hyliion? Yes. Could it go terribly wrong? Yes. And that is what the chance we've taken as investors in this company. So there is a great amount of reason to be excited for Hyliion. There is a great reason for Hyliion stock to be rising today on Wednesday, August 4th of 2021. However, we do need to tamper this excitement with the fact that there is a likelihood that this might not work out. I'm not saying that it won't, and I'm not saying that it will. I believe there is a high likelihood that it will. However, we don't know the future. This is a crazy time that we're living in, evidenced by a lot of stuff that we're seeing around us. So there is a very real opportunity that this could go sideways. However, like I said, there is a pretty good chance that it goes the right way and this truck order is fulfilled. And this also shows us that this is a situation that Hyliion has had in the background. We have not had any prior news of this potential purchase coming out before. So there's no telling what else is going on behind the scenes. So it gives you a little bit of hope that there is stuff happening behind the scenes that we're not seeing yet, and that we'll eventually see a lot more orders like this come out at the end of 2021 and hopefully at the beginning of 2022. Now, let's also keep in mind that what Hyliion is doing is not exclusive to the trucking industry. What they're essentially doing with their Hypertruck ERX is making a Prius out of a semi-truck. What that means is that the battery pack on the Hypertruck is what is providing the extra boost for the engine. So it's burning diesel as it drives down the highway, and then when needed, the battery pack kicks in, providing extra oomph to the drivetrain, and then giving it the extra distance to go further on lower emissions. So this is essentially a Prius model of a Hypertruck or of a Class A truck. Now, this would be an incredible thing to have on much smaller scale. So think of an F-150, think of a Dodge, I don't know, I don't drive Dodges, so I'm not really a fan of their Duramax. Their Duramax is one of their main things, the Chevy Silverados and things like that, Chevy Highlanders. These would be incredible benefits for these larger trucks, these larger work trucks that could use and benefit from a hybrid model, a Prius model of what is currently out there, because there is the electrification that is coming. However, one of the downsides for the electrification of these larger trucks is the range is not as much. Being someone who drives an F-150 XLT, I love that I can go 500 to 600 miles on a single tank and then fill up within less than 10 minutes and then go another 500 to 600 miles. With the electrification of the F-150 and other models that are coming out in the future, you do not get that benefit. You have to go maybe 200 to 300 miles, charge for 30 to 40 minutes, and then you might get to go another 100 or 120 miles. So the electrification of these larger scale trucks is happening. However, it's not happening in meeting the demand that is currently on the market right now. However, with Hyliion and these drivetrains, if they could just scale it down a little and then make an agreement with the Ford manufacturers, Chevy manufacturers, I mean, I guess Chrysler and Dodge if you want to. I don't know why people drive those trucks, but for some reason they do. Imagine what it would be like to have an F-150 or a Chevy Highlander or Silverado with this hybrid engine. You get to go like maybe, because it costs me about $80 to fill up my truck right now. It's a V8, so it has a ton of power and a ton of torque, which lets me do everything that I need to do. However, imagine how much further that tank would go if I had a hybrid engine, or if I had a Prius-like engine in that truck that had a battery pack that worked exactly like the Hypertruck ERX. So I'm saying all of this just to put it in your brains that maybe Hyliion's technology could be applicable to the commercial sector, or to the not residential, but the consumer section as well. Think of the potential if Hyliion made a reach out agreement to Chevy, Ford, or Chrysler. Just think about it, because we've already seen that it's successful in a Class 8 truck. So think about how that could impact the other trucks that are on the market for consumers. So anyway, that is not guaranteed. They haven't mentioned anything about this, but it does make sense that that would be a great way to reduce the carbon emissions of trucks that are on the highway that aren't Class 8 trucks that also have high emissions, but maintain the ability of what those trucks need to do in the present. So anyway, I hope all of this makes sense. I hope that you guys are having a great week so far, and remember, someone is going to do something amazing every day, guys. Why not you? See ya.